All right, we have another example of factoring. This time we do not have a greatest common factor. There's not a number besides 1 that goes into 1, -5, and -14. We're still going to follow our same for CFS over here as we go through factoring. So our first CFS says factor out a greatest common factor, and there might not be one. In this case, well, 1 goes into 1, 1 goes into -5, and 1 goes into -14, but dividing or multiplying by 1 isn't going to change anything. So we're actually going to skip this first step. There isn't a greatest common factor. Next, we want to identify the factors for C. A comes first, B comes second, C comes last when we're in standard form. So identify what multiplies to give me -14. Okay, I'm going to write out anything. I know that there is a positive and a negative that have to be here because -14, a positive times a negative is going to give me a negative. So 2 and -7, 7 and -2, 1 and -14, and 14 and -1. Those are all the factors that I have for C, or this -14. Now, I have all these factor pairs, and I'm going to be using them to plug into our parentheses. That's how we factor. But I need to pick which factor pairs are actually going to make this true. So we need to figure out not only what multiplies to -14, but figure out what adds to B. So B is the number in the middle. One of these adds to a -5. So 2 and -7, that actually gives us a -5 right from the start. I'm going to check the other ones just to make sure. So 7 plus a -2 gives me a +5, but is that what I'm looking for? No, I see the subtraction sign. I want to be looking for a -5. So not my second factor pair. 1 and a -14, 1 plus -14, we're going into negative land to -13. Still not the number we're looking for. And +14 and -1, +14 plus a -1 or -1 is 13. So 13, not the number we're looking for. Looks like we found it in our first factor pair. CFS number 4 says I want to write it as my factor. So x plus blank, x plus blank. Now, I didn't have a greatest common factor, so I'm not going to have a number in front. And I just take my two factors and I fill them into my parentheses. So x plus 2 and then x plus a -7. Now, the last thing we're going to do just really quick is change this plus a negative to a minus sign. That's how you're going to see it. And you finished successfully factoring. We chose the numbers that multiplied to -14, but also added to this -5 here. And now you're done factoring.